wonderful day it is. Hey there to all my guys, gals, and non-binary pal friends. Hey, my name's Eric Strickler, and I want to talk to you a little bit today about the fields of outdoor education and expeditionary learning. That's kind of the stuff that I do. I am going to be reading off a script because ain't no shame in reading off a script. Everybody needs a little bit of memory aid and a checklist here and there. Now, I do want to let you know I'm a little nervous doing this. You know, that's why I might stumble over my words a few times. So, boy, if you ever find yourself in a position where you're a little nervous speaking in front of a group, totally natural, all right? I'm just speaking in front of a video camera and I'm a little nervous. All right, we're going to get into it. So, a lot of what I do is I lead trips, right? And those trips have a lot of different aspects to them. They can be anywhere from an afternoon-long trip, maybe a little outing on a local river or local lake where I'm teaching paddling skills, to maybe a 28-day trip with teenagers or even adults, where we're doing serious wilderness stuff and doing some rock climbing, backpacking, some whitewater canoeing down some pretty remote rivers. Typically, you know, the trips that I lead were camping. A lot of the work that I do focuses on working as a team. And those groups are anywhere from usually 6 to 12 people. Oftentimes students around your age, middle school, some elementary, some high school age students, but also, like I said, some adult groups. And we'll go hiking with the gear on our back, only that gear that we need, right? We've got everything on our backs, like I said, for anywhere from like 3 days to 21 days. And we're climbing, we're paddling, we're doing some pretty challenging stuff. And so during that whole time, we're also working a lot on leadership development and communication, right? And what it means to be a good leader, what it means to listen to everybody in your team, and also what it means to like encourage teamwork and consensus to overcome challenges that you might encounter while you're out on our expeditions. Our expeditions are really just a metaphor for your daily life. You know, you're going to encounter challenges everywhere, and we just try and get people to take those lessons and apply them into their daily lives. But we do it in a pretty fun way, I think. So my specific roles, one of my roles is as an instructor with the North Carolina Outward Bound School. Outward Bound is an organization that has schools amongst the United States and even the world. But I've happened upon working at the North Carolina school. There is one up in the Northeast where you all are. I believe it's called Hurricane Island Outward Bound School. I think it's in the state of Maine, but don't quote me on that. I could be wrong. Another position that I have is I'm a wilderness medicine instructor with the National Outdoor Leadership School, and some people know that as NOLS. So with that role, I basically teach people how to handle challenging medical situations if they run into something when they're out in the wilderness and far from a hospital, right? We don't do anything super complicated, but we do things that can be life-saving and that can make people a lot more comfortable in the wilderness. So just a quick path and timeline for me, right? In high school, I did a couple outward bound trips as a student myself. I went to places like North Carolina, where I work now, and I also went to Colorado. And that really began to show me some of the amazing places that we have in our country, the amazing landscapes, lakes, rivers, mountains, forests, rainforests. In the case of North Carolina, it can be real wet down there. And you're still hiking, even if it's real wet. You know, and I really started to develop a sense on those trips of how I could overcome challenges that I was faced with, as long as I was dedicated enough to put the time in to figuring them out, right? In college, I studied natural resources management. So that gave me a little bit of a deeper understanding of biology, chemistry, what's happening in our natural world, and also some of the legal aspects that we have to protect our natural world in the United States and internationally. Things like the Clean Air Act, the Clean Water Act, that are so important for keeping our environment healthy. I had the awesome opportunity to study abroad a couple times in college, And as you'll see, it's kind of a theme with me. I really love to travel and explore. And so I got away to Norway and New Zealand. And, you know, while there were some really incredible landscapes that I saw, I think the most powerful thing of studying abroad was living in the international dorms with people from all around the world around me. And I just really learned how people from other cultures live. And the idea that like kindness and compassion are universal, even if they might look a little different from in people from different cultures. That was a really awesome experience, and I can't encourage it enough. After I graduated from college, you know, I wanted to see a little bit more. I worked a little bit after I graduated at restaurants, trying to make some money and find my first job. And then I got a job offer out at Mount Rainier National Park. It was a dream for me. I ended up doing some conservation work, working with the local environment to try and make it a little healthier, planting native plants in there to make that space a little bit healthier. I did a little bit of trail building around the area, and I also worked on some wildland firefighting, which I think they really need help with that right now because there's a lot of wildfires out west. And you know what? I spent a lot of time when I was out there just exploring the incredible environment around me, which I can't encourage that enough. No matter where you are, even if you're in the flatlands of like Illinois, there's still beautiful things and amazing places to go. After I worked at Mount Rainier, I started working on a sailboat for a little while. And that was a program mainly teaching students like yourself, mainly middle school age students, marine science and sailing skills. Now, I started working there as a deckhand, so I was teaching people how to use the winches to raise the sails and how to sail the ship and handle that big ship that's a lot of responsibility. And then I moved up into teaching the marine science, teaching about the organisms that live out there underneath the surface of the water. The seals, the whales, the tiny little itty-bitty plankton that even live in the freshwater around you in, say, Lake Champlain and the rivers around there. And just how all those things are interrelated and depend on each other, just like we as humans depend on our natural environment. I ended up managing that program. I worked there for about 4 years, and that was a really awesome experience. I got to see some really passionate people come through my door, and I got to work with them really, really closely, and it was just fantastic. That whole time, I'd been paddling quite a bit. I'd been kayaking, I'd been stand-up paddleboarding, and I'd been canoeing as well. And so, after a little bit, I wanted a little bit of a change, but I really like being on the water, so I went on to develop a couple of paddling programs that had some summer camps and educational paddles for adults and for students as well. And that was super fun. But then, you know, I really wanted something that was a little longer, a little bit more immersive, like out there in the wilderness and just like fully in the environment and like dependent on all those people around you. And that's how I came to be an Outward Bound instructor and work teaching wilderness medicine for the National Outdoor Leadership School. And so I've been doing that for about the past 2 years. And really, I think what I like most about this kind of work is being outside, challenging myself and others around me, and just working with really inspiring people. So I wanted to give you all just a quick glimpse into like what a typical day would look like. Now, because of this whole coronavirus pandemic, which has been really challenging for people all across the board, Outward Bound hasn't been running any courses this summer. It's disappointing, but you know, I'm with them in their decision to maintain that decision and try and like keep all of their students safe. So I'm hoping that we can maybe get back to some programs this winter. But outside of that, I'm going to show you what a typical day might look like. You know, it's going to be a little different because there's not going to be 8 to 12 middle schoolers running around with us, which would be awesome, by the way. I really miss it. But let me take you through some of our gear real quick. Here we got our backpack. We got some extra clothes. We got a sleeping bag right here. We got a rain jacket. We've got our tent. we've got a little stove, a med kit, of course, tiny little sleeping pad, water bottle, faux show. Over here, my dad's stuff. We've got some toys. We gotta have some fun. We've got his hammock. He's gonna sleep in a hammock. A little bit of food, some hiking poles, a water filtration kit right here, and he's got some extra clothes as well, and then his backpack. All right, I'm gonna give you a quick idea of what it looks like to pack all this stuff up and head to camp. All right, well, that's kind of a day, you know? We got out, we expeditioned up to our camp, we set up our camp, we got a beautiful place to camp here, and now we're just going about our chores in the evening. So with a group, the kind that I lead, we'd have different people in different roles. We'd have people split up to be cooks. We'd have some people being our camp builders, some people being our water collectors and water filterers, and then some people being our fire makers, and some other folks just to kind of lead and coordinate and make sure everything happened, right? A real, like, well-oiled machine out here in the wilderness. And it's a beautiful thing when it all comes together, and it always does. But, you know, you just never quite know when those wilderness medicine skills will come in. And what if something happened? What if somebody got hurt?
Hey, I cut myself.
Oh, are you okay?
Hey, I don't know, man. Look at that.
What happened?
I cut myself with this frickin' stupid knife.
Go ahead and put that knife over somewhere it's not gonna hurt you.
Over
just
there.
over the side. Yeah, that's fine.
All right.
You can have a seat.
All right.
Right there. Just calm down.
I
Take some
can't
deep
calm
breaths.
down, man. I'm bleeding.
I got first aid training. Can I help you?
Okay, good.
All right. Here's a little fabric. Go ahead and
Yeah,
put
what should I do with it?
Go ahead and put that on your cut and put some direct pressure on it.
All right.
And just raise that arm up over your head. Yeah, keep putting direct pressure. You can wrap your thumb around your arm right there.
Okay,
Yep,
yeah.
and press real hard. There you go. Just keep that elevation on there. And I'm gonna grab some tools to get you cleaned up and get you bandaged up, all right? All right, now, since this is blood, I don't want to be interacting with blood without having gloves on. So I'm going to go ahead and put my personal protective equipment on. Y'all have probably been hearing a lot about PPE during this whole pandemic. And this is exactly what we want to do here in this situation. Now, sometimes gloves cooperate a little bit better than others. How you doing? You taking some deep breaths over there?
I'm just okay. I'm just okay.
All right. Well, just relax, take a few deep breaths, keep that pressure on that wound to stop that bleeding, and we'll get it taken care of and bandaged up. This is a lesson. I think everybody should have superior gloves to these in their first aid kit. These are a little bit difficult. They might make a good rooster, though. All right. And you know what? This is something that y'all can try back at home, or shoot, I guess I don't know how many pairs of scissors might be in the classroom, but if you wanted to make your own bandage, any kind of like t-shirt, pants, shoot, even like underwear you could make a bandage out of. So I'm going to take this piece of tubular fabric here, and I'm just going to start cutting it, and I'm going to cut it in a big spiral. I'm just going to keep going, If y'all are familiar with ace bandages that you might have put on when you're out playing soccer, football, just running around, something like that, and maybe you twist your ankle, you come back in, and mom, dad, a friend is like, well, should we wrap it up? Do you want to put some tape on it? And oftentimes what people will give you is an ace bandage. So we're basically just making our own ace bandage here. We're gonna make it a couple inches wide, and we just keep going down our fabric spiral. You can do this with any scissors you might have lying around. And you know, I think that's long enough. Now I can go ahead and cut across. I might even be able to tear this. Like the Incredible Hulk. Ah! Okay. All right, now we've got a nice long ace bandage we can wrap around that wound once it's clean. All right, Dad, hey, why don't you come over here so everybody can see a little bit better.
I'm dying.
Oh, you can do it.
I'm dying.
Come on.
Okay.
You're fine.
All right.
Come on over here. You can sit in this chair right here. Just go ahead.
I'm dying.
Just go ahead and have a seat right there. All right, there you go. Now you can lean back and we'll get you all cleaned up. Now we got a couple of ways of cleaning this up here. So why don't you lean forward a little bit. We can use one way of cleaning this up. Okay, go ahead and take that off. We'll see how it's doing. Yeah, it looks like the bleeding stopped pretty well. So we'll use our first method, just some simple clean water. Now this is purified water. You know, maybe we need to scrub a little bit, and you could actually scrub with that cloth right there. Maybe be careful around that wound, but down here where we've got some blood that might be crusty, you can just scrub that stuff off of your hand, off of the bottom of your arm. If we had some real persistent blood that wouldn't come off, we could use a little syringe or even a Ziploc bag with the end cut out of it and make a little bit higher pressure. Let's see. Yeah, maybe there's a little bit more in there. Let's try and maybe open up the edges of that, spray it out, get everything cleaned off of there. All right. I don't know, I think that looks pretty good though. Always spraying away from the wound, not getting it back into there. What do you think? It look pretty good? You got any more blood on there?
No, stop.
All right, let's go ahead and set our tools over here. Now we're gonna wrap it up with this ace bandage. That dirty one, since it's contaminated, why don't you go ahead and put it in there. We'll make a little biohazard bag out of that. You can take that and just pat dry that wound right there. We'll put a little dressing on top of there. We'll get us some Neosporin. We'll just get it nice and moist on that piece of gauze. I guess we might have to expand that thing a little bit, huh? Cover that up there. All right, how's that feel?
Good.
All right?
Yeah.
All right, now let's use this homemade ace bandage we got here. We'll go ahead and lay that over there. You know what, before I do that, I'm gonna go ahead and roll this thing up, turn it into the ace bandage it was always destined to be. And if you'll notice, I'm gonna roll it starting like a happy snail, not a sad snail, right? I always want happy snails. Okay, you can support your arm there. I'm just gonna wrap this up. Hold your arm up a little bit more, and you just tell me if it's too tight, okay?
That's good.
And maybe this one's a little bit long, so next time maybe we can cut a little bit less out of our pants. We don't need to cut an entire leg off of them. We could just cut the little ankle cuff. But we've got, let's see, a little bit left right there. We can just tuck that right under. How's that feel? Feel okay?
Right arm. I mean, left arm.
Right on, left arm. And we'll go ahead and clean up our gloves here, making sure we're real safe with those things, and get everything in our little biohazard bag, and we have taken care of what could have been a dicey situation.
Oh man.
Nice work.
Thank you for saving me.
So who might be interested in this kind of a career in outdoor education and expeditionary learning? Well, I don't know about a career, but I can see some people that are enjoying it pretty well over there, even with a little scratch or two. But really, I just think it's important to be curious, adventurous, and have an interest in developing skills of being self-sufficient and a good team member. Now, I'll be honest with you, you gotta be kind of okay with a little bit of discomfort from time to time. It can be wet, it can be cold, it can be hot and sunny, right? But the point is, you'll make it through it. You're resilient, you're tough, and you can do it, right? You have the skills to overcome, especially with a good team around you. My favorite thing about the outdoor community is that it's a really great group of compassionate, considerate, and safety-conscious individuals who are curious and dedicated to lifelong learning. That's what I've loved about it so much. And with that, I want to wish you all a happy, curious, and learning-filled 2020, and I wish you all the best.